Yes. Oh, it is. It is. Wednesday, hump day episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. The Miami Heat continue to absolutely smash. So why don't you guys make sure you smash that like button, smash the thumbs up button for us, and make sure you have subscribed to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. And I don't know what you're waiting for. There's so much great content. It's not just this show by any means. I mean, all the Miami Heat coverage, Dolphins coverage, Hurricanes coverage, Florida Panthers coverage. This is a one-stop shop for everything South Florida sports. So the Heat continue to smash and dominate. The Miami Dolphins, even after the trade deadline, continue to steal headlines. We're going to get to all that. I want to remind you guys, we have an official sports bar here on Donno Daily, and it's the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Please join us 5 nights from today in 5 days, this coming Monday, November 8th. Please join us at the Quarterdeck location right by FLA Live Arena in Sawgrass, right out there by where the Florida Panthers play, the Quarterdeck Sawgrass. Join us next Monday, this coming Monday, I should say, November 8th, for a Miami Heat watch party. They're on the road at the Denver Nuggets that night. That's another W. Don't even worry about it. And we will also be watching Monday Night Football out there. So come out and meet all the great 5 Reasons sports personalities. You bet your ass I will be out there. My guy Frank Zaffrey is going to be there giving out Quarterdeck gift cards. So make sure you come out, spend a little time with us next Monday at the watch party and enjoy that delicious seafood, the awesome burgers and sandwiches, the amazing pasta dishes, the 2-for-1 happy hour. The 2-for-1 happy hour at the Quarterdeck is all day, every day, and they don't water down the drinks for happy hour like some other establishments I've been to. They give you the real deal there at the Quarterdeck. Make sure you go out there for football Saturdays and Sundays. Take advantage of the 5 for $15 ice-cold buckets, and make sure you check out every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarterdeck because they give you those for zero cover charge. If you want to check their menu before you go or find the location nearest to you, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book on Donno Daily. Guys, I'm having a blast, and I've been doing so well these last couple of days on my soccer bets. I don't want to toot my own horn because we still have games in progress, but I'm doing pretty well so far on my Champions League bets today, and I absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it yesterday, man. So make sure you check out betus.com. Guys, this is the 3-decade leader. Join now for a 125% sign-up bonus with our code 5RSN125. Use our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus on top of your deposit. And guys, when you sign up and when you make your deposit with our code, send me a screenshot. You can DM it to me on Twitter. If you DM me a screenshot to prove you signed up with our code, you're going to be eligible to win a $20 Quarterdeck gift card. So we're going to show you extra love if you take advantage of our bonus. And once you're on betus.com, guys, this is a full-service sports book. They've got great odds and odds on everything you can imagine. You can bet sports, play in the online casino, bet horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. betus.com. Oh, bros, I've got a pep in my step today. I'm feeling fantastic. At 3:15, we're going to be joined by Vishnu Parasuraman. Talk a little Hurricanes with Vish because there could be changes coming to the athletic program. Maybe not the ones you're expecting. We'll get to that. At 3:40, we're going to talk Dolphins and Heat with our guy, Big John Stud. And I'll explain to you why I've started calling him Big John Schefter and why I should have listened to him over the last few weeks. But let's start with what was a masterful Miami Heat performance. And hello to everyone in the chat. Jose Matos says the Dolphins need Lowry and Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, Kyle Lowry, he's the best quarterback in the NBA right now. I feel like he could do that at the NFL level as well. Hello to our guy listening, watching north of the border, MB Beggs, Marco, who lives up in Canada. He says, I'm back for Donno Live. I'm literally working. He's watching the show, and he's watching AC Milan in Champions League on, 3 different screens. So you got the screens working. Good afternoon to Big Dan, 305. Hello to you. Good afternoon to Shamario Patterson. Thank you so much for tuning in. To Brooklyn Rob as well, who I was chatting with even before the show started. Just so you know, guys, the live chat usually opens hours before the show even starts. So if you want to just shoot the shit with, I usually check it out in there, chat with me, chat with Brooklyn Rob and Big Dan are usually in there early. We start the live chats on YouTube even before we get on the air. 125-110 last night. The Miami Heat beat the Mavericks in Dallas. They improved to 6-1 on the year. It's funny because the Heat, they usually have really fast starts in games. They had a slow start in this one. The Heat is on indeed, sir. Dallas jumped out to the big early lead. They were shooting lights out, but then at a certain point in the first quarter, Dallas, they weren't missing anything. And I looked at their lead, and it was 22-18. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, the Mavericks right now cannot miss. And they've only got a 4-point lead to show for it. They're in huge trouble. And you know what happened? Because it was literally only Jimmy Butler scoring for the Heat early. And then when everyone else started to catch fire and when Lowry and company started to hit threes, then the Mavericks' grave was dug during the second quarter of that game. The Miami Heat scored 46 freaking points in the second quarter after a slow start and 24 points in the first quarter. They go into the locker room with 70 points at halftime. That's today's NBA, and that's today's Miami Heat. If you thought this was just a team constructed to play defense and they would closely resemble one of those late 90s teams that used to play those, 85-81 games against the New York Knicks, you were sadly mistaken. This team is built to defend, and they are also built to score and score big. They're now 6-1 overall, as I mentioned. 6-0 with Kyle Lowry on the floor. The one game that they lost, overtime in Indiana, no Lowry in that game. They looked different that night, and with Kyle Lowry, the identity and the culture and the pace is injected into this Miami Heat team. Folks, make no bones about it. You see the power rankings say this. I'm telling you this, and you need to agree with me right now, and I know it's early. We're 7 games into an 82-game regular season. I know it's early. Right now, the Miami Heat, they are the best team in the NBA. The Miami Heat are the best team, not in the East. They are the best team in the National Basketball Association right now. And with important new pieces that they added before the season, like Kyle Lowry, like PJ Tucker, like Markieff Morris, I don't think anyone, myself included, expected them to hit the ground running and to look this comfortable this quickly and this early. And it's not like they're just playing against the stepsisters in the NBA. Like, it's not like they're playing bad teams. No, I mean, they've already gotten, they beat a tough Dallas team on the road last night. They beat a media darling Brooklyn Nets team. I mean, even though Kyrie Irving may not be a media darling, but a lot of people were picking the Brooklyn Nets to win a championship. They beat them soundly on the road in Brooklyn. They dismantled the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champs already this year. The Miami Heat are the best freaking team in the NBA right now. And let's not forget, when we talk about new pieces or players that will be integrated and reintegrated to this team, Victor Oladipo can and still will be added later. So the Miami Heat have not even unlocked anywhere near their maximum potential. When you're talking potential, what Victor Oladipo might be able to add on both ends of the floor to this team, especially on the defensive end of the floor where the Heat they're going to be impossible to score on down the stretch in games. You haven't even integrated Victor Oladipo into this team yet. It's not even going to be fair to the rest of the NBA. And listen, throughout the season prior to last night, we've seen Kyle Lowry play primarily as a distributor first and not really worry so much about his own scoring. Well, last night he decided to do both. Last night, Lowry decided, not only am I going to be the engine of this locomotive, right, the way he always sets the tone and the pace for this team, he also decided to be a scorer, and he scores 22 points on 7 for 10 shooting, 6 of 9 from beyond the arc, okay? So if Duncan Robinson is not going to catch fire and he's not going to hit his shots, and last night he just didn't want to shoot. He did go 2 for 2 from threes last night. Duncan Robinson only played 24 minutes, and he scored just 6 points last night. He only took 2 shots yesterday evening. But the thing about Duncan is we're 7 games into the season. At some point, Duncan's going to catch fire. Like, it's going to happen. At some point this season, Duncan's going to catch fire, and he's going to go through a 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 game stretch where he's hitting everything from 3, and he's got his confidence back. This team is only going to get better. Miami last night, they shot 65% from 3-point shooting, even though Duncan Robinson only attempted 2 of those 17. So they've got shooters beyond Duncan Robinson. Jimmy Butler, he had a quiet 23 points. Jim VP, that is, because he's got to get MVP consideration. He scored a quiet 23 points, got to the line 17 times. I love that. Bam Adebayo had a 22-point, 13-rebound double-double. And I was saving the best for last. If you're thinking, why is this bloke not even mentioned Tyler Herro yet? Oh, I'm getting to that. I am getting to baby GOAT. Oh, and I love this comment. Wow, Depot, sometimes I forget that. It's easy to forget. We haven't seen Depot in forever. At some point, we're going to see Depot, and it's over for the rest of the league. But on Tyler Herro, oh my God. Tyler Herro, on multiple occasions last night, he cooked Luka Doncic. Oh, I was freaking loving that. He's making contested shots right in Luka's face. So he's trying to back up the talk. You know, you saw the interview where Tyler Herro, he says he's on Luka's level and he's on Trae Young's level, and the ball don't lie. He's putting up numbers and actually playing more efficient than those two guys are right now. And we'll get to Charles Barkley's comments a little bit later. Charles has always got to be doing some hating. Miami, they did out-rebound the Dallas Mavericks last night. 45-41 was the final margin. The Heat, in case you're wondering, are still the top rebounding team in the NBA. I don't expect that to hold up for the entire year. Maybe they'll end up being top 8, top 10 in rebounding. For right now, they're top in the NBA in rebounding. I will enjoy it. That is outstanding and unexpected because they just don't have the type of vertical size that a lot of the other teams have in the NBA. They've got the girth and the width, which, you know, some people say is even better, if you know what I mean. But they don't have the sort of vertical height that a lot of other teams had. And this, I absolutely love this. You had fans at the American Airlines Center in Dallas chanting, "Let's go Heat! Let's go Heat!" Nothing makes me feel prouder when I'm watching a road game and I see and hear the "Let's go Heat" chants break out, man. The Miami Heat, I'm telling you, they are the unofficial home team at every arena in the NBA. In Brooklyn, it's already happened this year. Now it happens in Dallas. People respect Miami's greatness. You know who must have been really pissed off to hear "Let's go Heat" chants in his arena? That weasel, Mark Cuban. Oh, Mark Cuban must have been so pissed off to hear that. That whiny Mark Cuban. I'm sorry, Mark. People respect greatness. The Miami Heat are great. Your team, mediocre, maybe a little bit better than mediocre. Guys, this Heat team, they are the 21st century version of a Pat Riley 1990s team. They have the toughness and the grit. They've got the defensive versatility and the defensive lineups to close out games with that sort of trademark Riley defense that made Pat Riley so famous. But they also have the pace on the offensive end of the floor, and they have the ability to hit threes at an extremely high clip. And I'll say it again, just wait until Duncan Robinson catches fire. They did fine from three. Without him last night, they shot 65% from three, and that's despite the fact that Duncan's been on a milk carton. At some point, that guy is going to get his confidence back, and he's going to have these like 8 for 11 nights, 10 for 12 nights from three, and we're going to see fireworks. We are going to absolutely see fireworks. This team also, I will add, this Heat team, they are unselfish. They've had 3 different leading scorers already in 7 games this year. On any given day, could be Jimmy's day, could be Tyler's day. We've seen that a few times already. It could be Bam Adebayo's day. It could be Kyle Lowry's day. Now, usually Lowry likes to defer and create first, but we've seen it. We saw it last night. Kyle Lowry is perfectly capable of deciding, tonight I am a scorer, and I am going to score. So you're going to see that. We have a big 4 on this team. I said that in preseason. This is not a big 3. I have inducted Tyler Herro into the big category, and this is a big 4 on this basketball team right now. Whether they win an NBA title or not, like I'm telling you, the Miami Heat are the best team in the NBA right now. I'm not guaranteeing a championship just yet. Maybe my guy Michael Christian will do that. I've heard Michael Christian from Feel the Heat on 5 Reasons Sports say repeatedly 81-1. He initially picked the Heat to go 82-0. They had a slip up in Indiana. He's going with 81-1 in the regular season. I'm not going that far just yet, but I'm feeling pretty bullish on this team. And whether they win a championship or not, we're going to look back at this incarnation, this 2021-2022 incarnation of the Miami Heat as one of the most entertaining Heat teams in franchise history. Whether they hoist a trophy or not, we are going to respect these guys. We're going to love these guys. Oh, and this adds insult to injury. Clement writes in, Mark Cuban wanted Kyle Lowry too. Well, you know what? You know what happens every time Mark Cuban wants something or someone that Pat Riley also wants? Cuban loses every single time. Every single time. 2011. Okay, they stole our championship. We gave him that one. But every other time Mark Cuban wants something that Pat Riley wants, Pat Riley is going to win that battle 99 times out of 100. Sorry, Cuban. You're a loser. All right, let's bring in a guy who's not a loser. And I love his hat choice. Although I'm not wearing that hat today, I do own one of those fine 5 Reasons sports hats. We love talking Miami Hurricanes with our guy Vishnu Parasuraman. And you guys have a show tonight, right, on the 6 Ring?
Yep, we got a show tonight, 8:30. So if you want more Kane stuff, it'll be myself, Jazz. We'll have a couple other people on as well. Should be a good time.
Let's start with the good, because I often feel like it's funny because we haven't had you on, since the team started winning and playing well, right? So A lot of the conversations that you and I have had on this program have been incredibly negative, but we give you what the team gives us, right? Like if the team is playing like crap, we can't put lipstick on that pig, but the team is playing a lot better, and I owe the majority of that, certainly not to the defense, not to the coaches. I owe the majority of that to a redshirt freshman quarterback who looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now. Tyler Van Dyke, are you surprised, as I am, by the amount of success he's having?
Yes, I would say definitely. I do think Lashley gets a lot of credit. Like,
true,
we've seen that expansion. In fact, the offense as a whole, the offensive line's playing a lot better too. I think Knighton bringing some more explosiveness to the running back position has helped. It's all clicking now. But yeah, after his first few games, my evaluation of Van Dyke was big arm, not very accurate, and now now the accuracy is there, and he's making all the throws. The ball basically never hits the ground, and it's just explosive play after explosive play, mostly just on his arm. He's throwing people open. He's doing everything you'd kind of expect of like a senior quarterback, except this is like his 4th start, I think, coming up, or 5th start, and then. Yeah, as was said in the comments, like all these young kids we threw out there, they're all performing. They're making tough catches. It's all clicking offensively.
Yeah, offensively, and even though like the defense as a collective hasn't been great, there have been some standout players. And I look what some of the young guys are doing. Tyler Van Dyke, he's a freshman. Jalen Knighton, I think, is a redshirt freshman. Van Dyke is redshirt as well. Keyshawn Smith at wide receiver. We're starting to see Elijah Arroyo make plays, the freshman tight end. And listen, Tyler Van Dyke takes home ACC Rookie of the Week honors. Miami also had a Player of the Week in James Williams, number 0, freshman safety, who is just absolutely oozing with talent. And we've seen Leonard Taylor make big plays as well, another 5-star guy. So I think the question a lot of people have, Vishnu, is are these young players going to play so well that they keep Manny Diaz's job for him? Because that is one thing that, obviously I'd say conservatively, probably 75% of the fan base are not too happy with the job that the coach and the staff is doing, maybe outside of Rhett Lashley right now. But on Diaz, there's a lot of negativity. Do you think these young guys are going to play Manny Diaz right back into his job?
So I think if he keeps his job, either it'll be for one of 2 reasons. Either he earns it himself, or the school has no standards, which both options are on the table. Based on what we've seen in the past, just being honest about that part. But the young kids are playing well. These games are still razor thin. Like we're talking about last week, the ball rotating over the right yard marker, so to get the clinching first down after we fumbled it. Like that's the margin, was literally the ball floating over. But if they keep winning, I don't know that's necessarily the young kid saving his job. We've gotten that, like, for example, the Virginia game, the North Carolina game, the break went the other way. You win those, right? In this case, the break goes the other way. You lose. So it's balanced out pretty well there. I think if he's going to actually win enough games to have a majority of the fan base, I guess I would say, agree he should keep the job, that's pretty much winning out. You're going to have to play better. Period. Like you can't, because if it comes down to a play or two either direction, some of those are going to come up bad for you, just like they have in some of these games. Like easily, could have 1 win on the season right now, or could be 6-2, right? So but if you play 4 more games where it's just like, if he makes this field goal, we lose. Eventually, it's going to go through the uprights, right? But I do think there is room to grow still there. But I think if we still, particularly defensively, continue to play like we are, you're going to get stung somewhere. And then you're talking about the maximum record being 7-5, and I don't think anyone, given the expectations coming into the season, is going to say that should do anything other than cause him to lose his job. But again, who knows where the school is on that? But I do think if he gets to 8-4, which means ends the season on a 6-game winning streak, to me that's different. But you have to understand, if he takes a loss now, it's going to be a bad one. Like, the schedule is not, there's not another, like, wow, it's okay that you lost that game type of thing on the schedule. So right. I think another bad loss and then a 7-5 finish, those two things together, I don't think anyone's going to have an appetite to bring him back at that point, other than perhaps the administration.
Just my only request is, if you're going to have a loss the rest of the way, just don't let it be Florida State.
I was thinking about that. I was like, everyone's feeling good about the program. We could wipe the floor at Georgia Tech. If we go to Tallahassee and lose to this Florida State team, then, like, that's it. It's gone. Like, everyone's going to lose their mind. You can't lose to this version of First of all, losing to Florida State's always just bad, like, just mentally. But losing to this Florida State,
Yeah, I mean, at least, like, losing to, like, Jameis Winston, Florida State, Jimbo Fisher en route to their national title, like, you can at least look back at that and say, okay, I kind of get that. Like, I get losing that game, but yeah, you can't lose to this. Or I don't care if it's in Tallahassee, you cannot lose to this version of Florida State. There was a lot of noise on social media this week, and I don't know, it seems like it came from someone who's not reliable, and then it just got Game of Telephone retweeted about like, Blake James moving on, being imminent. I don't know. What do you think happens there? Because I don't know if anything's going to come out of that particular.
I do. First of all, I don't know that that's true, but I do think there is probably a bit of a divergence, because while those rumors seem to be not credible, Manny Navarro is certainly very credible, and when people are telling him things like, well, Blake James is not necessarily tied to Manny Diaz, that leads me to believe they're kind of looking at the athletic director position as maybe this isn't the guy, which I think is a win for, first of all, he should go just based on his performance at this point, Blake James, and I think that's a win for Miami fans even if Diaz stays in, because you get a new evaluation of him. We don't see what's happening in practice behind the scenes and all that. I think we're all confident that Blake James is not the right person to evaluate any of this.
Yeah.
So I think if you get a new AD in there and Manny Diaz stays, that's a win for Canes fans overall. I think, frankly, my opinion is I'd like to see them both go and just clean start. But I also don't know if it's a great idea for Diaz to go and then James to go hire someone else. Like, I don't think anyone wants to see that either.
Terrible idea.
So I think Blake James going would be a kind of a win. And when you start seeing these kind of rumors circulating, and I know the thing about him being fired imminently or whatever was, I think we all know, kind of bunk. BS. But certainly people leaking things to Manny Navarro, kind of hinting at, not all's well in the athletic department, and maybe Julio Frank's kind of awake to that a little bit more than he was a month ago. I think that I lend some credence to. It doesn't necessarily mean Blake James will be fired, but I do think he's probably, for the first time, feeling some pressure from his bosses, because I think he's basically been skating by while the performance of our entire athletic department has gone down the toilet under his tenure.
And I would just hope, and you'll probably agree with this, but let me know if you don't, that if they do bring in a new athletic director, I certainly don't want the administration telling him, hey, just so you know, Diaz is untouchable. Like, no, I mean, if they bring in a new athletic director, he should have his own authority to make that decision. Now, if that new AD does decide, you know what, I would like to evaluate Diaz with my own eyes for another season, right? Then so be it. But I certainly don't want the administration interviewing ADs and saying, hey, just so you know, part of the condition of taking this job is we like our football coach. You can't fire him this year, even if you want to.
Yeah, and I think the caliber of potentially, if Blake James goes, the caliber of an AD they bring in would probably tell us that answer.
Yeah, true.
But the other thing is, I'm much less worried about that with Julio Frank than with Donna Shalala, because Julio Frank does not care about athletics at all. Donna Shalala is very controversial, obviously polarizing. She actually cared, so she would stick her fingers in all the athletic stuff. He does not even know that there's a game going on. Like, he does not care at all. So, like, I don't think he would hire an AD to then try to lord over. I think he wants to hire someone and say, you deal with this stuff I don't care about. and I'll deal with the academic side of things. And so I don't imagine him hiring someone. And that's actually one of the reasons Blake James is in there. No one thought he was qualified for this job. That's why he was interim AD for so long. He was put in as a puppet because Shalala lorded over the athletic department anyway. It's like if you have one of those puppet dictator regimes and then the central government falls and now you got this person trying to run a country that has no ability to do that. And
I would love
they're
to
not
be in
getting the
charge
support.
with one of those. Like it is my lifelong dream to be rich and powerful enough. Like I make jokes about the Illuminati. I want to be in it. Like if there's a membership form, like an application, I would love to be. I would love to be like an overlord, secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes. Like I would love nothing more.
And that's what Blake James, I think, was hired to be, was to be the puppet in front of the president's office pulling the strings, and the president leaves, and all of a sudden you have someone that's not really qualified, empowered, when they really weren't before. And I think that's where, the performance of the athletic teams across the board, there's no defense for it in terms of where, here's a great example. Basketball, 2 years ago when everything shut down for COVID and they canceled the ACC tournament, we were so bad we got eliminated before they canceled it and our season ended because we couldn't qualify for the postseason. We're like the only team in the country that actually finished that season. That's how bad, and that's just like an example, but we've kind of seen it across the board, slippage. If you look at where we were 5 or 6 years ago, if you look at the state of all of the programs now compared to when Blake James took over, it's all been downward.
So I love your take on Georgia Tech this weekend. Home game for Miami, 12:30 p.m. Clearly, the sharps and the betting public are buying what Miami is selling right now because the Hurricanes are 10.5-point favorites. Now, Georgia Tech did shellac North Carolina earlier this year. Now, with the way Miami's playing, Miami should win this game comfortably. But what do you think about a 10.5-point line there? Because that caught my attention. I'm like, I'd love to bet Miami here, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would, just being honest, take Georgia Tech with the points. There's Miami doesn't blow anyone out, so I don't know. All of a sudden, they're winning by like 10.5 is a pretty big number there.
Good point. They beat Appalachian State on a game-winning kick.
Every single other than Central Connecticut, every single Miami game essentially. So they've played two teams that are currently in the playoffs. And got blown out twice. Every other game, other than like a non-D1 game, has been razor thin. So I would just assume it's going to be relatively close. You meant Georgia Tech's been very up and down. Like they lost to Northern Illinois, like you mentioned. They handled North Carolina easily. They gave Virginia a really close game on the road. That game ended up 48-40. We know Miami's defense isn't good, so Georgia Tech can put some points up. Their big issue has been turnovers. And Miami won the turnover battle against Pitt, which is ultimately why they won the game. 2 huge interceptions that swung it. So if they can continue that, I do think Miami will win. But I would not be comfortable taking this team with that many points, like minus 10.5, just because of the defense. Well, but I do think Miami will win, and I think Miami's offense. I don't think Georgia Tech's gonna be able to stop them. They've given up a lot of points this year, and I think Miami will shred them offensively. So I think it'll be one of those games where, I'm hoping at least, we're not sweating it out for once. I think it'll be one of those comfortable kind of, you're going to win, but it's not quite like 3 or 4 scores. It's more in that, but I would not take, essentially, it's a touchdown. It's 2 touchdowns at 10.5, right? Basically. That's a lot. So I would think Georgia Tech will probably keep it under that, but I don't think it's going to be one of those we're sweating it out on the last play of the game again for like the, 6th or 7th week in a row, whatever it is. It's like every game's like that. I think this one will be a little bit more space in there, but that's a lot of points.
Well, and I can see signs that the ACC is starting to tremble at a possible Miami resurgence. When they start going after Miami for allegedly having like an extra headset at the Pittsburgh game, or maybe not like filling out their credential within the 90 minutes allotted, this seems extremely petty. So you have a 20% communication reduction for the game against Georgia Tech. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of like who exactly gets assigned headsets. I'm guessing if up to 23 people have a headset, there's a lot of people who don't really need one. Like there's probably like a lot of like staff members who are just observing. Like I don't think 23 coaches, if there even are 23 coaches, need headsets. So I don't know, man, but it seems very petty for the ACC to go after Miami for this, and it makes me think the U is back, baby.
So, what do you think actually happened there? Because to me, it does not, like, I'm actually wondering if we did something pretty egregious, just because no one's saying what it actually was. The rule is pretty straightforward. You fill out this form, You have 23 headsets, you hand it to the other team. It's not even the AD signs it, the coach signs. Like, if you read the rule, it is black and white. And Diaz saying it was a rules misunderstanding, and everyone kind of just brushing it under the... And 20% reductions, not insignificant. Again, do you really need 23 headsets? Probably not. Diaz says it's not going to be a big deal. But the fact that we just took it and said, yeah, let's move on, and kind of swept it under the rug, I'm wondering if it was something more... Because, again, if you think about the margin in that game, the last thing you want is something coming out where pick and say, oh, we would have won if not for whatever. In fact, when I read that article headline, I assumed it was recruiting. When you hear communication device violation, I was like, oh, we texted some recruit when we shouldn't have or something. And so I was like, oh, it was in-game? That always makes me uncomfortable, because did we gain an advantage from it? What exactly was it? I mean, it does feel a little bit like Goodell burning Belichick's practice tapes and just saying, here's a penalty, everyone move on, we're not going to tell you exactly what happened. Whether it was that, it definitely wasn't that bad, but I'm really curious what actually the violation was. Was it really just we had an extra headset that was maybe a backup headset because, if one doesn't work, you need to use the other one, then someone was using it? Or was it something as bad as, like, because it's just a communication device violation. Do we have someone, like, stealing signals off their sideline and radioing them over? It could be anything in between, right? Like, I mean, who knows? But
based on these scenarios, I hope we never find out what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Whatever it was, we got away with it and got a big win. So whatever, it's fine. It's just it could. I don't think it was that level of cheating either, because I think they would have actually made us forfeit if we did something that bad. But it was substantive enough where they, first of all, we got caught. Which, if it's like using a 24th device, would you even get caught? How would anyone
listen, who knows? I mean, these losers from Pittsburgh, because their program is irrelevant. Dan Marino went there. Congratulations, Dorsett. Whatever. Larry Fitzgerald. You're irrelevant for the most part. They probably had some intern on the sidelines from Pittsburgh, counting the headsets and snitching to somebody. I'm not worried about it. The U is back, bro. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
If we're getting targeted for communication device violations, I guess. In a way, you could say we're not back, because it wasn't like the headline on ESPN and wall-to-wall coverage of how we're cheaters. So 5 years ago, we would have gotten that treatment. But no, I don't think it was that big of a deal. But I also don't. I would be surprised if it was insignificant, just because they penalized us pretty substantially. And if I'm Pitt, I'm a little annoyed that wait, they did something against us and Georgia Tech gets an advantage because of it.
Good point. Yeah.
I'd be like, wait, what happened here? But whatever. The win stands, and I frankly don't care. Like you said, there's so much. The whole college football system is corrupt. If we got away with one, oh well.
Yeah, exactly. Worse things are being gotten away with throughout the year in other programs, I guarantee you. Great stuff here. Want to make sure you follow Vish at VRP2003 on Twitter. And what time are you guys going live tonight on YouTube?
8:30.
8:30. Beautiful. I will be watching. Have a great show tonight.
All right, thanks.
Awesome stuff there for Vish here from Hurricanes coverage on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. In a few minutes, we're going to bring in our guy, Big John Stud. Before we do that, got a few things to say, including I want to remind you guys that our partners at Underdog Fantasy are doing big things, my friends. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy football and fantasy basketball. I'm big into that now, guys, for big cash prizes. Hockey as well, man. On Underdog Fantasy, you just draft. No need to worry about waivers, lineups, or injuries. Underdog handles all that stuff for you, which is a big load off my mind. I used to love all that stuff, like the waivers. I used to love that because I was, back in the day, when I was a single, childless nerd. But now that I am a married father and, I put my big boy pants on almost every day, I don't have time to be checking my lineups and waivers every single day. I love the fact that Underdog takes care of that stuff for me. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app. Draft a season-long best ball team, and that is it, man. No in-season management. They're going to give you $25 in bonus cash when you sign up, so you can take a free shot at a $1 million grand prize. That's right. You can get $25 in bonus cash on Underdog Fantasy if you use our code. You see it there on the screen, 5RSN. Use our code 5RSN. There's a lot of amazing fantasy games on the site. Check it out when you go out there. I love Underdog because it's so easy to use, guys. The mobile app is slick. The website is user-friendly. So do what I've been doing. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, join a league, draft a team, and that's it. You are good for the season. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com and use our code 5RSN. So big development today after yesterday. Chris Grier, the Miami Dolphins general manager, did address the media today. And let me tell you why it's incredibly important and why it was super necessary, as our friend George Masvidal would say, that Chris Grier addressed the media today. Because last night, the attorney for the Deshaun Watson accusers, Tony Busby, gave this statement to a news station in Houston, KRIV in Houston. And the way that he worded this about the process leading up to the trade deadline, and ultimately Deshaun Watson was not traded to Miami, as we all know. But the way that Tony Busby worded this, it sounded really bad for the Miami Dolphins. And we're all thinking last night, either Stephen Ross or Chris Grier or both have to come out and make a statement. You can't leave this to Flo again. You can't let Flo hang out to dry when this is really something that the GM and or the owner needs to address. So this is what Tony Busby said, the attorney for the accusers, okay? He said that negotiations between the Dolphins and Texans had broken off after Miami, he said, made the request for settlements. He said Miami was making the request for settlements and reiterated that he reiterated to Miami, did Busby, that 22 settlements wasn't going to happen, he said, and that whether there's a deal or not really has nothing to do with us. He said, quote, then Miami lowered that number. I made it clear that wasn't going to happen. Watson's team was trying to sell the Dolphins on some lower number, and I think that never came to pass, Busby continued. I don't know where it came from, but there was an instance of a very, very robust non-disclosure agreement, and we pushed back on that very hard. He said, I don't care if Watson gets traded or not, said Busby. I'm just going to continue to pursue the case, continue to do my due diligence on the case, and start preparing the case for hopefully a trial, he said. So there was a lot insinuated there about the Miami Dolphins, and it makes it sound like, the Dolphins were trying to silence the voices of 22 women accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual assault. When you talk about, and Busby was careful. He said he didn't know where it was coming from, whether it was coming from the Dolphins or strictly coming from Watson. But when he talked about the robust non-disclosure agreement request, it does insinuate that the Dolphins were trying to silence alleged victims and also pushing for settlements. So it sounds very bad. And listen, I got to tell you, we've said a lot of negative things about Chris Grier and his personnel decisions on the show, and I stand by a lot of the things we said, but I give credit where credit is due. I thought Chris Grier handled the media very well today, and it makes me really wish that he had spoken before today. Right, that maybe later in the trade deadline, some clarity from the GM, because the head coach clearly did not feel comfortable talking about it and giving any real information. That was something the GM could have handled better. Chris Grier, I thought, did a good job today, and they probably should have put him out a little bit sooner. So as you see here, this tweet from Cameron Wolfe, and I watch, and by the way, go find the video of this answer from Grier, because I'm not going to do it justice when I quote him or when Cameron Wolfe, not Cameron Wake, when Cameron Wolfe quotes him or when I quote him, it doesn't do it justice, because Grier was very passionate and he was clearly very upset. Cameron Wolfe tweeted, most upset I've ever seen Chris Grier. And Wolfe has been covering the Dolphins for years. He's seen Grier speak many times. Most upset I've ever seen Chris Grier when asked if they being the Dolphins, were involved in trying to get women to sign NDAs, that's non-disclosure agreements, regarding Deshaun Watson talks. Quote, any suggestion that this organization would be dealing behind the scenes trying to influence decisions is absolutely ridiculous and categorically false, he said. To say we would be involved in that is flat wrong, and that pisses me off. I'm glad he said it, okay? And listen, this is one of those things where, as far as I'm concerned, obviously it's he said between Chris Grier and Tony Busby. So on the one hand, like, you've got a general manager who obviously it's in his interest to try and protect the Miami Dolphins franchise and make it sound like they didn't do this terrible thing. And then on the flip side of it, and guys, in no way is this my commentary on the alleged victims. Like, this is not my commentary on them. But I will say about their lawyer and about the way, he's handled himself publicly when this saga started, he is like a real life version of Saul Goodman. Like there is some of that Better Call Saul in this dude, Tony Busby. So this guy likes to yap. He likes to talk a lot. Okay. So you've got the word of a lawyer, a lawyer who craves attention, to one of these celebrity lawyers, media, craving kind of guy, versus the word of a GM who's trying to protect his own self-interest and the interest of his club. I can't say, definitively who's right here, but I'd really like to believe Chris Grier, because listen, if nothing else, the Dolphins would be incredibly stupid and reckless to try and force is probably not the right word, but to try and, really push for these settlements and for non-disclosure agreements. That would be very unethical. And so I like the way Grier handled himself, and I'd also really like to believe what he said. And he was very passionate about it and clearly upset at that allegation. I like what Rafa in Miami points out. I give Grier no pass for today. Too late. It's been handled very poorly, and today won't change my mind on that. Listen, I'm not defending the way that the organization has handled this entire process. I just thought Grier did a good job, and I thought this is only another piece of evidence that he should have spoken sooner. Marco says that's an emphatic denial. I believe him. Yeah, listen, I feel the same. I'd like to believe him, but it doesn't excuse sinking the team for a trade that was likely never going to happen anyway. Bingo, you hit the nail on the head with that last part. Let me bring in a man. I like to call him now Big John Schefter. Now, for the past month or so, this guy, Big John Stud, Big John Schefter, he's been the angel on my shoulder. I probably put a little bit too much stock into the devil on my shoulder, who was, telling me that this trade was going to happen. But Big John has been emphatic that this trade was not going to happen, that they were not going to bring in Watson at the deadline. So I give you credit. You've said it on this show several times. So, people have the record of that if they watch previous episodes. I give you credit, and I give you kudos to that, sir. So how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Listen, the Miami Heat win again. Life is good.
Yeah, we spoke about that before the game. They're going to smash them, and that's exactly what they did.
That's what I told you. See, you're Big John Schefter. I'm Donno Wojnarowski, right? I'm all the NBA stuff for me, the NFL stuff for you.
There you go. That works for me.
So how do you feel, Big John, about the way that it's been handled, up to this point? I mean, and listen, part of it, people always ask, like, how come the Dolphins never came out and said we are absolutely not going to trade for Deshaun Watson? And I maintain it's because they were interested and they just didn't want to lie about it. But obviously there were a lot of hurdles they had to jump over to get this done by yesterday. And it was too much. It was too much to get done yesterday. So how do you feel about the way that this has been handled over the past month or so?
Well, I mean, if you're going to go over the past month, it hasn't been really bad. But if you think about it, it's been going on for 9 months. This has been going on, hanging over to his head, for 9 months, give or take a couple of days. And I don't even know how you expect to get the best out of him when, you're constantly, it's like you're married and, you come home and, your girl doesn't want to be with you. That can't be easy for him to play and try to win. He's basically trying to save the job of the man who's trying to replace him. That's insane. I don't even know how. If I was two, I'd throw interceptions on purpose. I mean, if that's what the way you feel.
Well, he is throwing about a pick per game, so maybe he's doing that, to be fair.
You never. I mean, to be honest, if you look at his track record, he isn't like he throws many interceptions. He doesn't throw them as often as he's throwing them now, so maybe I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. But I have a different take on the whole Chris Grier thing. You want to say that he was defending himself and all that, and I get it. I don't buy it for 1 second. I don't buy it for 1 second. I think the Dolphins, they've proven in the past that this whole thing about, we want people that have character and that they're proper and team first. I don't believe any of that, because if that wasn't been the case, you wouldn't have tried to run Tony Sperano out of town when he was coaching for you and you're during the season trying to bring in Jim Harbaugh. I mean, come on. You've already done it once.
Yeah, and I'm thinking out loud here because part of me would say that because listen, I to an extent I can understand it, and one of the things that Chris Greer said today, and like he says that they really didn't come that close in his words to making this deal, but he did admit we did our due diligence and we were looking into this player and we were doing research on Deshaun Watson's legal situation. We were doing background checks. Like he's admitted all that, right? But like a part of me would like to say, man, like you can't find a way to do it a little bit more discreetly, a little bit more quietly. But then on the flip side of it, I think part of the problem was for the Dolphins on why they couldn't keep this a secret and why they couldn't be discreet about it was Houston made a big effort to leak everything, right? Because and then I think Deshaun Watson's people also started to kind of leak things in the final days, because I thought Mike Florio made a great point on Pro Football Talk that once you got the word in the last few days that Deshaun Watson was only willing to waive his no trade clause for Miami, that leak surely didn't come from Houston, because that hurts their leverage. Like there's no reason why Houston would leak that. That sounds like a Deshaun Watson leak. So it's hard to do this discreetly when the other two parties you're dealing with are more than happy to leak things to the media. So I do think that hurt the Dolphins a little bit as well. And listen, at the end of the day, and I'm not defending Deshaun Watson as a person, because he's been accused of doing some really terrible things. And if you've read any of the accounts, and at least one of the women did an interview months ago, and it's like it's hard not to believe them with the way that the testimony was shared. So like I'm certainly not defending him as a human being. I can't understand though if you have what Chris Greer called a unique situation of having one of the best quarterbacks in the league available in a trade. You do your due diligence on it. Like I can understand it to that extent. Like at the end of the day, they probably came to the right decision not to make this deal yesterday.
I agree, but I mean that's a very PG way of saying unique situation. A unique situation, is driving to work and not making it here on time because somebody crashed into your car and you're around the corner. A unique situation is not 22 sexual allegations with 10 criminal, hanging over your head, where if you get prosecuted, which I've been on record as saying that Tua wasn't going anywhere, Deshaun wasn't coming here, and I have a really, really bad, I have a feeling he's going to go to prison. You heard it here first. So if it happens, they have the receipts, to say I said it, but I've been saying it from the beginning. Those 10 criminal, the problem isn't the 22 lawsuits, that's not, those aren't the problem. The problem is the 10 criminal. Those are the problem. That's the problem right there. Yeah. I mean, we've seen people get off like Ray Lewis, different people get off of major situations, but Ray Lewis was coming off of if I'm not mistaken, it was a murder charge, but it was one murder charge, not 10 murder charges. Or, it's one count.
Hold on. To be fair, we don't have charges yet. They're complaints that have not become charges.
I understand. But what I'm saying is if he is, 10 complaints is not the same as one complaint.
Right. It's not nothing. And I totally get that.
It's not nothing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think the reason why Houston tried to, playing devil's advocate, Houston tried to get him traded as soon as possible, because if anybody knows what he did, it's them. They're the ones that covered everything up. Mm-hmm. So they know if there's more there than what we know, because they're the ones that had this all covered up until he said he didn't want to play there, and they said, okay, well, we'll let the dogs loose. Here it goes.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Now let me ask you, where do we go from here with Tua? Like, is there a way now to repair this relationship between Tua and the coaching staff, Tua in the front office? And I will also ask, to be fair, like, is it even like, is it 1,000% important it's repaired? Because they're professionals at the end of the day. Like, Tua Tagovailoa, he is making millions of dollars to play quarterback in the National Football League. Maybe motivation he's a big boy. Like, motivation doesn't always have to come with, oh, do my bosses like me? Do they like me? So where do you think it goes from here? Because obviously everything that's gone on, it is unfair to Tua. And you know what? If anybody can turn the page on this, it probably is Tua, because he seems like the type of guy who doesn't let extracurricular shit bother him too much. So
I was just gonna sit there and say he doesn't let extracurricular shit bother him. He's a unique individual, based on what we've seen, based on the way he acts, based on the way he's handled the situation, which could have probably cracked anybody in half as a person. And he'll sit there and say, he's like, I can't control what I can't control. And that's the way his mindset is. I mean, we're talking about a kid that, his dad drove him to be a quarterback who was left-handed when he was originally right-handed.
Yeah, so that's a great story.
I mean, he's been through it. He knows what tough love is in a way. And I think that's why he's uniquely qualified. I'm of the opinion that I don't think Tua is going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere now. I don't think he's going anywhere in the offseason. I think Tua is going to be here next year. At the end of the day, if you look at, unless you're going to get Aaron Rodgers, and from everything I've heard from certain people that I know, his destination is most likely going to be San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's where he wants to go. Yeah. I don't see anybody that you're gonna draft that you can say is better than Tua right now. Like, the draft there isn't a Trevor Lawrence out there, so
yeah, you're right.
To me, I don't see him going anywhere. I see him playing out his contract, and at the end of the day, I do see him winning over the fans. I just don't think that Brian Flores will be at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think Brian Flores' days are numbered. As crazy as that may sound, as people may think, oh, they're going to give him a third year, I think he's made a mockery of this entire situation. And if the Dolphins were involved in this situation and they were behind the scenes and it comes out that they were, I don't see how Stephen Ross survives this. You'd have to take him out of ownership if he's guilty of this.
It's heavy stuff, and you're preaching, man, and people are appreciating all this for sure. What do you and how ironic, and I hadn't even mentioned this on this episode at least, how ironic that after all this, the team the Dolphins face this Sunday, the Houston Texans. I mean, how freaking poetic is that? After this entire saga, the Houston Texans come down to South Florida. Dolphins are, I think today they're 6.5-point favorites. It was about 7 yesterday, 6.5-point favorites today. The Dolphins have obviously struggled. It's not news to anybody. 7 straight losses. The Texans are really bad. How do you think that game plays out this week?
No, I think we win, but I think we win because for the first time the entire season, according to Xavier Howard, they went back to playing defense the way they played last year. We expected them to play that way from the beginning of the season. We didn't know they had changed their entire schematic. I don't think anybody expected them to go from a press man team to playing zone when you're a press man team, your corners, the defense is made to be press man. That's why you pay them $33-34 million for 2 cornerbacks. So I don't understand why you would go from playing press man, leading the league in turnovers with the amoeba defense, confusing everybody, including Patrick Mahomes, who I think threw 3 interceptions last year or 4 against the Dolphins. And all of a sudden you're like, no, we're not going to pressure the quarterback. We're just going to let you throw. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You set a record for 23 straight games with a turnover, but you're going to stop doing that to do something else that doesn't make any sense. So that's one of his 35,000 decisions that just make no sense. I haven't seen one decision that Brian Flores has made all year that has made sense. this. I don't know what's wrong with him. I really haven't. I don't
Like,
get it.
it's not the same guy, and it's weird because, dude, his first 2 years in charge, I did nothing but praise him because he seemed to push all the right buttons. I guess the situation changes, and like you find out what a coach is really made of when you actually have some pressure and some expectations.
Well, at the end of the day, that could be it. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, he basically started calling the defense. He should have been doing that. I would have figured he would have done that from the beginning of the year.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because then, like, I mean, it looks that way, but he is denying that he's calling the defense. So
yeah. We have to believe him. I mean, everything out of his mouth isn't a lie. You know, there's not 7 offensive coordinators. You know, 3 defensive coordinators, 2. You know, they probably have like a 3rd kicker that we don't know about. I mean, come on, dude. Like, for real.
Honestly,
like,
I think this might be the explanation. Aliens kidnapped the real Brian Flores. It's somebody's wearing his face. Like, I don't know who this is.
You know what it is? It's just that it wasn't only that he was making the right decisions because he was pushing the right buttons, but you could see the common sense in the decisions he was making. There's no common sense to half the stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
You're okay. Jacksonville, you're playing. It's 4th and 1. Tua's got 2 touchdowns, 300 yards. Why do you take the ball out of Tua's hands on 4th and 1 and run the ball when you've run the ball 14 times all game? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it also looks like somebody who doesn't trust their quarterback, but it was kind of odd because he played really well in that game to that point. But it looks like somebody who doesn't trust their quarterback in a big spot.
No, it doesn't make. You have a press man scheme the entire season. You basically took over the NFL in what? 10 in 9 games. You literally had almost 15 turnovers, but we're not going to play press man. You know, that's like the Bulls having Michael Jordan, but we're not going to give him the last second shot just because. We're going to try something else. Hey, Tony, what are you doing? Get off the bench here. Take a turnaround jump shot, Tony, coach. Let's not, you know, let's not give it to Michael Jordan, who's, you know, the greatest, you know, last second player in basketball history. Let's just go with you.
Hold on.
You know?
Greatest player in basketball history, period, sir. I don't want to hear any of this LeBron nonsense on
No, you're never going to hear that from me, bro.
Yeah.
I've always said that the Miami Heat were a Dwayne Wade team, and I'm going to die saying that.
The Mario Chalmers team, really, if we're being fair.
Yeah. I guess if you want to take occasional jump shots and get treated like you're 3 by LeBron, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, I appreciate you. We have said a lot, sir. And man, I got to tell you, this is a fan favorite. Every time Big John Stud comes on, he gets the chat going like nobody else, man. Obviously, he's great to interact with. Great follow on social media. Where can people find you, man? And anything else you want to promote? Because I know you do a lot of appearances on shows around the area. You have anything else coming on?
No, not really. You can catch me on Miami Sports Music. You can catch me on occasionally on Finside the NFL. Nice. You can catch me here. I just pop in and out. You know, sometimes I make a cameo appearance. Sometimes I don't. It is what it is. But you know, this whole Dolphin situation is just I've never seen a team do this. It's just like it's a clown show. It literally is a clown show all the way around. It is a clown show.
It really is, man. You are not a clown show, sir. Give your beautiful daughter a hug and have a wonderful rest of your day.
I will, sir. I will. Hey, tell Luca to be careful, man. No more clumsiness, all right?
I love it. Yeah, he was referencing the other day. I think it was Manny was talking about like those shoes that some kids wear. I don't know what you call them. There's a name for them. Forgive me for not being a sneakerhead, but there's like a name for the shoes where the little wheels pop out. The kids wear those and they're like skates. And I said, keep those away from my son. He's not coordinated enough. I mean, he's not even 4 years old yet. So I don't know how many coordinated 4-year-olds there are out there, but man, my kid is really clumsy. He is not ready for any kind of roller skates in any way, shape, or form yet. Somebody in the chat, I wanted to pull this up and bring it up before we wrap up today. Hold on. Here we go. Miami Sports Fanatic Show, who I think it's going to be, he's going to be a guest on a future program. We're going to bring Miami Sports Fanatics on. He says, I love hearing Charles Barkley talk about Tyler Herro as if Herro doesn't average more than 30 minutes a game. Yeah, he's not in the starting lineup, but he's playing starter minutes also against starter. I am baffled. Charles Barkley, listen, I enjoy Charles, but I view Charles Barkley as purely an entertainer. I don't let anything he says, and he takes pot shots at the Heat frequently. I don't let it bother me because I don't think Charles cares. I think sometimes just thoughts pop into Barkley's head. Oh, this would be entertaining. This is going to get people riled up. I don't really take him seriously as a basketball guy. I know he's, one of the greatest players ever, but I don't take his opinion seriously. I think everything he says is for entertainment value or for shock value. So Barkley was reacting to Tyler Herro saying that he is in the same conversation as players like Luka Doncic, who the Heat beat head to head last night. And Herro was cooking Doncic last night. That was unbelievable. So puts himself in the same conversation as Luka and Trae Young. And Barkley took issue with that. This is what Charles Barkley said on Inside the NBA on TNT. He said, those guys being Doncic and Young, they have to carry a team every night. Herro is playing against backups, he said. When you're coming off the bench, you're playing against backups. No disrespect. Herro's a nice little player. Hold on. How are you going to say no disrespect and then come out with he's a nice little player? Bro, that's dismissive. That's like referring to him as a kid. He's a nice kid. Come on, bro. No disrespect. He's a nice little player. That in itself is disrespectful. He continued, but trying to say you are capable of carrying a team every night, that's a different mentality. So Barkley neglected to mention important details like, Tyler Herro doesn't start games, but he does routinely finish games. And I would argue, and I know Eric Spoelstra feels this way, being a finisher is arguably more important than being a starter. Closing out games is incredibly important, okay? And like our comment from Miami Sports Fanatic Show mentioned, he's playing plenty of minutes, 30 plus, and he routinely goes up against starters. It's not like the Miami Heat literally only throw him out on the court when the other team's backups, and then when the other team's starters come in, oh no, Herro's a liability. We got to get baby goat off the floor because the starters are coming back in. It's absolutely absurd. And just honestly, Barkley just took it too far, right? He could have ended the statement at, it would have been reasonable for him to say, I'm not putting Herro in the conversation with Luka and with Trae Young because those guys are carrying teams and Herro doesn't have to carry teams because, you have people like Jimmy and Bam and Lowry to do that. If he had ended it right there, it would have been fair, okay? But to call him a nice little player and then to say, oh, he's only out there against backups, the first part is a little bit disrespectful. The second part is patently false. He's not only on the court against backups. So I thought it was ridiculous. Charles started to make a somewhat reasonable statement, and then he took it way too far. Ryan said, I will say that when Barkley said Zion looked like him and Shaq had a kid, that was hilarious. See, that's the sort of stuff I love Charles for that. I love Charles for comments like that. The guy, he's irreverent, he's creative, he's wacky, he's unpredictable. You don't know what Charles is going to say next. I like him for that stuff, not some of that other stuff. A couple of other things that happened. Oh God, this looks so bad on the Henry Ruggs situation. This looks terrible. Chief Deputy District Attorney Eric Bauman said in court today, this is a tweet from Adam Schefter, that the Chief Deputy District Attorney there said in court today that former Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs was traveling at 156 miles per hour before the crash that left a 23-year-old woman dead. And he was allegedly drunk as well. It's, why he's in huge trouble. And that Ruggs's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. And it was added that at the time his airbags were deployed, it was at 127 miles per hour. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Okay. Listen, I know that that there are situations where a lot of people have made the unfortunate decision to get behind the wheel impaired, and in many cases are very lucky that they don't cause accidents, right? And it's like I think it's very important to raise awareness for drunk driving, especially in this day and age. Like, there's no reason to do it, even if you're not a millionaire like Henry Ruggs. Like, if you're that impaired, bum a ride from somebody, get an Uber or a Lyft. I know it's not cheap, but it's a lot better than, the price you would have to pay if, God forbid, you cause an accident. It's much better to pay like $12.55 for an Uber than it is to, to do something incredibly illegal and incredibly unsafe. But a lot of people have made that unfortunate decision and not killed somebody. But I got to tell you, man, anybody who was trying to like defend Henry Ruggs, like, oh, he made a mistake, he didn't mean to kill somebody. No. As soon as you add in the detail, this dude was driving 156 miles per hour. If you had any sympathy for him before that detail, and you probably shouldn't have, but if you did, I hope you throw that all out the window. There is no excuse for that. No excuse for that. I don't care if your car can drive that fast, whether you're stone cold sober or in his case, you're twice above the freaking legal limit. You do not drive 156 miles per hour, especially when you're drunk. Like, zero sympathy whatsoever. Zero sympathy whatsoever. It is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And big news today, Aaron Rodgers testing positive for COVID. And it turns out he told a little fib. Okay, he led the media to believe that he was vaccinated, even though he is, it turns out, it's been confirmed, unvaccinated. And he, if you look back at it, he technically didn't use the word vaccinated, but he said, I am immunized. And in the context of it, gave off the impression he was vaccinated. So people are incredibly upset at Aaron Rodgers for this. And I think probably the most unfortunate part of it is there are different protocols for vaccinated and unvaccinated players. So with him lying about it, he has been able to go through the vaccinated protocols, which meant preseason when he was in street clothes, he was able to roam the sidelines without a mask on because everybody thought he was vaccinated. Which is a different protocol when you were unvaccinated. So he was technically lying and endangering by not telling that truth. Okay, so does not look good for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm still waiting, by the way, to receive the Bitcoin that he's sending out. You seen that on Aaron Rodgers' Twitter that he's like sending people Bitcoin through Cash App? I think my timing was really bad because I sent him the tweet to send me Bitcoin like right when this info started coming out. So I don't know if I'm going to receive any Bitcoin from Aaron Rodgers. I think he's got bigger problems to deal with right now. And yeah, Cap for Life writes in, Ruggs, done. I mean, is done. He will. I mean, he's going to be locked up probably for at least a couple of years. He's going to be in prison, very well deserved. And I don't think he can ever play in the NFL again. Like, this is awful. Like, terrible criminal freaking negligence, what he did. And somebody lost their life because of it. It is absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. So everybody will keep supporting the Miami Heat. I will keep supporting my Miami Dolphins. In all seriousness, I hope they win, and I hope Tua has a big game on Sunday. I would love to see it. Like, he's got 9 games here to smash any doubters that they have in the front office there. I hope the kid. I don't want to be disrespectful like Barkley to Tyler here. I don't want to call him a kid and disrespect him. I hope this grown man, Tua Tagovailoa, has big games Sunday and the rest of the way to really make a great story out of this. I hope that they make a Disney movie someday about the guy that the front office tried to trade, and then he went out there and he became a real franchise quarterback. I would love to see that. I encourage everybody, make sure you are checking out our sponsors like the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. We're going to have a watch party out there 1 week from this past Monday, 5 days from now, Monday, November 8th, we are going to have a Miami Heat at Denver Nuggets watch party. Also Monday Night Football that night. We're going to be at the Quarterdeck location in Sawgrass, right by the FLA Live Arena where the Florida Panthers play. So join us out there. It's going to be so much fun, man. Join us out there next Monday at the Quarterdeck. We're also going to be giving away Quarterdeck gift cards. Ethan Skolnick is going to be out there giving away 5 Reasons Sports hats. Everybody wants one of those hats. It's going to be an awesome time. And make sure you guys are signing up and supporting our official sports book. Oh, I have every day I'm on here. And by the way, I went 2 for 2 today in Champions League. I only bet early games today. Let me tell you what I did today. I won money on betus.com. AC Milan played against Porto today, and I had Porto were plus a half a goal underdogs, and I bet Porto plus half a goal. They tied, so I win, right? The game ended in a 1-1 draw, so Porto covered. And I had another underdog pick, Shakhtar plus 2 against Real Madrid. Real Madrid won, they didn't cover. So my Shakhtar plus 2 bet hit, my Porto plus half a goal hit. So I'm a little bit richer thanks to the folks at betus.com. So guys, sign up, have fun. You can find odds for everything. This is a full-service sportsbook, guys. You can bet point spreads, money lines. They even have a casino. You can play card games in there. I play blackjack in there sometimes for money, for real money in the online casino. It's a lot of fun. BetUS.com. We've got a sweet deal for you. Sign up with our code 5RSN125. And when you sign up and make your deposit with our code, they're going to give you a 125% sign up bonus. Okay. BetUS is called America's favorite sportsbook because their customer service is impeccable. If you have any questions, like maybe if you're new to the sports betting space, you sign up for the site, you're not exactly sure, what's a parlay, what's a teaser, what do I do? They've got a customer service chat line. You can chat live with a customer service rep, or they have a 1-800 number you can call, and they're available to you all day, every day. Customer service is fantastic. They have the best bonuses in the industry to keep their members playing longer. They treat you like a VIP at betus.com, and we'll treat you like a VIP because when you sign up with our code 5RSN125, not only do you get that 125% sign up bonus, if you let me know, slide into my DMs on Twitter at Alex Donno. Let me know you signed up with my code. Send me a screenshot for proof, just so I know you're on the level. You guys are going to be entered to win a $20 gift card at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. And I feel pretty good about your chances because I have actually more of these gift cards in my personal inventory than I thought I did initially. So I think there's a pretty good shot you're going to wind up with one of these. So sign up with our code. Not only do you get the 125% sign up bonus right there at the casino, betus.com, you can win a $20 Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill gift card as well. And it reminds me, not too long ago, our guy Brooklyn Rob won a gift card on one of my shows. I've got to mail that out to him. I'm going to mail that out to him today or tomorrow, so he gets that one pronto, man. BetUS.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Want to throw out some thank yous. Marco, who's up in Canada, says, what is 150 miles in kilometers? It's almost 300. See, you guys and your stupid metric system up there, although I love the metric system, everything divisible by 10 or 100, whatever, it's fantastic. But I'm not sure what is the conversion rate of miles per hour to kilometers. It's a lot, bro. Like it's very, very fast. Like a lot of cars won't even, he was driving a Chevy Corvette. A lot of cars will not ever get to 150. So it is like as fast as a human can drive, not behind the wheel of an F1 car. Exactly. Oh, man. Cap for Life says, Tua is auditioning for his own job. Shaking my head. What a bleep show. That's basically what it is, right? Because, the Dolphins can technically circle the wagons again on Deshaun Watson. Although, I got to be honest, with the way that, with the Tony Busby statement and the way Chris Greer was talking today, I don't know. It might not be a good thing if they circle the wagon. I think this Watson stuff is becoming even more toxic than we expected it would. So maybe just washing your hands of this one might be the right way to do it. So thank you to Miami Sports Fanatic Show as well, to Brooklyn Rob, who dubbed me the Mush. He's trying to convince us he's not a mush with his 2 Champions League bets go a long way. Hey, I went 1 for 1 yesterday. I hit a 3-team parlay yesterday, went 2 for 2 today. I'm raking in the dough on this Champions League money, man. Thanks so much to Cap for Life. Thanks so much to my paisan, Ryan Sproviero. Thank you so much for watching. PB Matthew, love it. Let me see who else I haven't shouted out. Perfect Q, hello. Ruggs' career just hit the carpet. He's done. I see what you did there, Ruggs, carpet. I see what you did there. Oh man. Okay. I try Rafa in Miami. This is the dude who years ago told me eat tomatoes every day. You'll never get sick. I haven't gotten sick since I started eating tomatoes every day. What an unbelievable, the best unsolicited medical advice I ever got. I love tomatoes and my immune system is jacked. David, thank you so much for watching. I told you, Donno, that this was never going to be over. I think he's talking about the Deshaun Watson saga. Let me see who else. Star Fox 85, tremendous video game, assuming that's what you are referencing with that username. Oh, my guy, Ray Grullon. I love this dude, and he always greets us with howdy whenever he comes in. I love that. I love the old Western slang. Arson World 123. Thank you so much for joining us today. Abner Adir, thank you so much, who reminded us to be absolutely fair, and he's right, that even though there have been criminal complaints, there are no charges on Deshaun Watson at this time. That was a good point at the time, especially when you made it, when we were talking about it. Don't want people to see me pull that up out of context. Oh, my guy, Andy in Scotland. What a dude. Andy in Scotland. Why does Ross hang on to everyone too long? Greer has to go. It won't let me scroll up any higher. I think that there are more people who message. They only let me scroll up on the feed so high. So huge shout out to everybody. Thank you so much. We are going to be back on tomorrow. Same time, same place, 3 p.m. right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network for another episode of Donno Daily. Ciao.